All right, I've had it. I've had it with people getting nostalgic for things that were quantifiably terrible. I saw a meme the other day. Some old guy posts a picture of that old TV game switcher that you used to have to hook up to your Atari. You know, the one, that little gray box with the screw terminals that said TV on one side and game on the other. And if you wanted to switch between the two, you had to crawl behind your TV like you were sneaking behind terrorists in Nakamura Tower, flip a switch that was approximately 2 atoms wide, and shock yourself from the static electricity from the primitive cathode ray television that you owned. And this person goes, good times. I miss this. You miss this? You miss electrocuting yourself to play Frogger? You miss the ritual of suffering that we all went through before the convenience of HDMI existed? Buddy, you don't miss that. You miss being young. You miss having knees that didn't sound like Rice Krispies when you stood up. Can we at least be honest about that? People have started confusing nostalgia with Stockholm Syndrome. We've been held hostage by the past for so long that we're starting to miss our captors. I miss the old simple days of VHS tapes. You mean when you had to rewind a 2-hour movie manually or else Blockbuster would fine you 50 cents like a loan shark? You miss that? You miss the tracking lines and static snow and that moment when the tape got eaten like a spaghetti dinner inside your VCR? There's absolutely no reason to miss any of that. None! You know what's better than rewinding? Not rewinding! It's called progress. And don't even get me started on people who get misty-eyed over dial-up internet. Oh, I remember the sound of dial-up internet. Yeah, the mating call of the digital demon that prevented anyone in your house from using the phone. It was the sound of 56 kilobits per second of pure agony. Do you know what you could do on dial-up internet? Nothing! You could load half of an image of a Pokemon in 12 minutes. You could check your email if you started at dawn and had faith of the heart. And now you've got people saying, oh, I miss it when the internet wasn't full of drama and influences. It was. It just took you so long to load the page that by the time the drama appeared, everyone involved had already died of old age by the time it got loaded. And then you got people who say, I miss when phones had cords. Really? You miss being tethered to the wall like a cow on a stake? You miss having to stretch that curly cord across the kitchen while your mom yelled, don't stretch it, you'll ruin it! You miss having that phone cord get so twisted that it could qualify as a nautical knot? Well, I liked when phones was simpler! You liked when phones couldn't tell you what time it was unless you called a robot lady at time and temperature. Do you know what my phone does now? It tells me the time. It tells me the temperature. It tells me my heart rate. It tells me the nearest restaurant. It lets me order tacos from a place I've never been to while I'm not wearing any pants. All while without me standing next to a rotary dial that could also double as a weapon. And then there's that special type of person who goes, well, I miss when cars didn't have all those fancy electronics. Yeah, because nothing says good times like stalling out on a hill because you couldn't find the choke. Nothing says American freedom like getting third-degree burns from the vinyl seats every summer. I liked it when cars was simpler. Sure. You mean when you had to roll down the window manually and it took 45 wrist rotations? You mean when the car radio had 2 buttons, static and slightly less static? And don't even start on that nonsense about the good old days of driving. Those were the days when if your headlights went out, you just died in the dark. Oh, and people who miss handwriting letters. Well, I miss the romance of sending a handwritten note. Do you though? Do you miss spending 30 minutes writing, 2 days waiting, and 3 weeks wondering if the mailman just got tired and accidentally fed your letter to a goat? I miss when people took the time to write. You mean when your hand cramped up after the second paragraph and your ink smeared like you were signing the Declaration of Independence? Do you want to know what's more romantic than handwriting? Typing without cursing at a quill. And we all know that one person who says, I miss when we didn't rely on so much technology. Do you miss polio too? Do you miss heating your house with fire and praying that you didn't freeze to death by the morning? Do you miss the days when you couldn't Google rash on elbow and had to just wait and see if you died? I miss when things were simpler. No, you don't. You miss not having bills. That's what you miss. You miss not being a kid. You don't miss the part where the toaster tried to kill you. People say, well, I miss when TV only had 3 channels. Why? Why would you miss that? So you could choose between Murder, She Wrote, Wheel of Fortune, or an entire channel devoted to snow? Do you miss having to physically get up to change the channel? Do you miss fighting with your siblings because one of you was the designated remote control? Did your parents ever call you into the living room while you were playing in your own bedroom to say, oh, honey, we just wanted to tell you that we loved ya. Change it to channel 4. Because my parents did that to me. Now I have 500 channels and 17 streaming services. I can watch a nature documentary about sloths in Portuguese at 3 a.m. That's not worse. That's civilized. And then, well, I miss when we used maps. Yeah, I loved that. There was nothing like unfolding a 5-foot wide paper atlas across the dashboard while doing 70 miles an hour trying to figure out where the hell exit 19B went. You'd make one wrong turn and suddenly you're in the middle of a cornfield screaming at a scarecrow. GPS is too complicated. Yeah, okay, you're telling me that a calm robot voice saying, turn left in 500 feet, is more stressful than your spouse yelling, you missed the turn, you idiot! While you're holding a map bigger than your car? And can we talk about people who miss cash-only society? I liked it when you had to pay in cash. It was simpler. Yeah, because nothing says convenience like realizing you don't have enough money at the register and having to decide which grocery item to put back while everyone else stares at you in silent judgment. Now, I tap my phone and boom, paid, done. No math, no fumbling, no counting change like a filthy medieval peasant. And then there are people who actually miss film cameras. Well, I liked not knowing how my pictures would turn out until I got them developed. Why would you miss that? You miss spending $20 to discover that your thumb photobombed every shot of your vacation? You miss waiting a week to find out that your camera malfunctioned halfway through the roll? Oh, the anticipation! Yeah, that's not anticipation, that's anxiety wrapped in disappointment. And we can't forget the absolute pinnacle of boomer nonsense that we hear every day. Well, I miss when kids played outside. No, you don't. You miss being a kid. You miss having energy and knees that didn't sound like bubble wrap. You miss riding bikes without helmets and thinking you were immortal because you hadn't yet learned what deductible meant. You don't actually want to go back to drinking out of the hose in 110-degree weather. You just want to feel alive again. And you still can. Newsflash, chumps. You can do that without nostalgia for lead paint and sunstroke. The truth is, people don't really miss the old things. They miss the old feelings. They miss youth. They miss freedom. They miss the illusion that life was simpler when really it was just more annoying and dangerous. We've somehow turned inconvenience into an aesthetic. Oh, I miss when music came from cassette tapes. No, you don't. You miss when you didn't have back pain. Cassette tapes were awful. You had to flip them, rewind them, and pray the tape didn't unspool like Satan's party streamer. Spotify didn't eat your music. Spotify doesn't get stuck in the car player and make you cry on the way to work. Let's be real here. Convenience is good. Do you know what's better than nostalgia? Wi-Fi. Do you know what's better than the good old days? 2-day shipping. Do you know what's better than the Atari switcher? Not crawling behind a 90-pound television set and risking tetanus. And listen, I'm all for remembering the past fondly, but let's not rewrite history to pretend that sweating to death in a non-air-conditioned car was character building. It wasn't. It was heat stroke. So to my fellow nostalgia addicts, I say this with love. Stop it. Stop pretending that suffering builds soul. Stop acting like rewinding a VHS tape was a spiritual experience. You don't need to worship inconvenience to feel alive. Progress is not the enemy. Convenience is not the devil. You don't have to miss misery to prove that you are authentic. And the next time you hear someone say, well, they don't make things like they used to, remember, good. They shouldn't. Because the way they used to make things required tetanus shots, patience, and occasional prayer. I like my modern life. I like my instant streaming, my GPS, my air conditioning, my magic pocket computer that orders me tacos. Nostalgia's great, but only for the good stuff. The rest can stay exactly where it belongs, in the past, covered in dust, covered in frustration, and the faint smell of burning electronics and hair. So please, stop pining for the simple times. They weren't simple. They were just awful. Enjoy convenience, embrace the future, and for the love of all that's digital, never wish for that Atari Switchbox again. If we want to talk about things that were better in the good old days, the good oldies, Twinkies. Twinkies used to be delicious, and recently I had a Twinkie for the first time in decades, and my first thought was, what happened to it? This used to be a log of pure magic, and now it's just a sponge of sadness. What happened to the Twinkie? Hostess, you owe us answers. Just like everyone watching this video needs to go down there because you owe me a like, a share, and a follow, and of course, Patreon down there, $5 a month to fund this completely egocentric nonsense that I do here almost every day when I feel like it. And of course, join me next time on Me Monday whenever I talk about something else that in the grand scheme of things just doesn't matter. But it's fun.